Welcome back to PsychVids. Today, we're looking at something called the Hedonic Treadmill. So let me ask you this. Have you ever chased a goal, a promotion, a new phone, that perfect vacation, totally convinced it was the key to lasting happiness? You get it. You feel that amazing rush. And then, a few weeks later, it just feels, well, normal. You're right back where you started. We have all fallen for this. It's the I'll be happy when trap. The pursuit is thrilling, you finally get that promotion, and for a minute you feel like you've made it. But then reality kicks in. Suddenly there's more stress, way more emails, and your mood, pretty much the same as it was before. Sound familiar? Well, this cycle of wanting something, getting it, and then getting used to it is exactly what we're going to unpack today. So what's going on here? Why does that amazing feeling always seem to fade away? Well, psychology has a name for this whole phenomenon, and it gets right to the core of how our minds work. It's all about our psychological set point.
The official term is hedonic adaptation, and the best way to think about it is like a psychological thermostat for your mood. When something great happens, the temperature of your happiness goes way up. When something bad happens, it drops. But no matter what, this internal thermostat is always working to bring you back to your own personal, stable baseline.
Now, this isn't some brand new idea. Psychologists Brickman and Campbell actually coined the term way back in 1971. But it was a landmark study in 1978 that really blew the doors off how powerful this effect is. That study, and later work from researchers like Sonia Lyubomirsky, helped us understand not just what the treadmill is, but what we can actually do about it. Okay, so that 1978 study, this is where it gets really wild. They looked at two groups of people who'd been through massive life changes: recent lottery winners, and people who'd recently been paralyzed in accidents. And just like you'd guess, the lottery winners got a huge spike in happiness, while the accident victims saw a huge drop. But here's the real shocker. Within a year, both groups were right back to being about as happy as they were before any of it happened. And that led to this profound, kind of mind-blowing conclusion. The extreme good luck didn't lock in happiness forever, and the extreme misfortune didn't cause permanent misery. It's just a stunning testament to our resilience and this powerful built-in ability we have to adapt to pretty much anything life throws at us.
So you might be thinking, is this some kind of cruel design flaw in our brains? Are we just doomed to be on this treadmill forever with lasting happiness just out of reach? Well, not quite. When you look at it from an evolutionary point of view, it actually makes a ton of sense.
Turns out this is probably a feature, not a bug. Think about it. For our ancestors, total satisfaction was dangerous. If they found one berry bush and were just happy forever, they wouldn't have gone looking for the next meal. Our brains are wired to notice changes, new food sources, new dangers. Once that shiny new car just becomes the car you drive every day, your brain tunes it out so it can stay alert for the next new thing. And this chart really brings it all home. Research suggests that about half of our happiness set point is just genetic. It's baked into our DNA. And all those things we chase on the treadmill, like a promotion or a bigger house, that falls under circumstances, and it only accounts for about 10%. But look at that huge slice left over. 40% is determined by our intentional activities, the things we actively choose to do and think. 40%. This is the magic number. This is where we have the power. It's not about changing our genes or endlessly chasing better circumstances. The real key to lasting well-being is right here, inside this 40%. This is how we can take back control from the treadmill. All right, so how do we actually use that 40%? If we can't just hop off the treadmill, how can we at least slow it down and make our happiness boosts stick around longer? Well, the research points to some really clear, practical strategies. Here are 4 of the most powerful ones. First, gratitude. Just writing down 3 good things that happened each day literally forces your brain to notice and appreciate what it already has. Second, prioritize experiences over things. Instead of the next gadget, try a cooking class or a weekend trip. Memories don't get outdated. Third, inject some variety. Take a new route to work. Try a different cafe. It keeps your brain awake and engaged. And finally, pursue meaningful goals, like learning an instrument or volunteering your time. So really, it's all about shifting our focus. The things that speed the treadmill up are material stuff and predictable routines. But the things that act like brakes, those are experiences, novelty, and focusing on purpose and connection. It's about consciously shifting from just chasing pleasure to actually building contentment. Learning about the hedonic treadmill doesn't have to be depressing. Actually, it can be incredibly freeing. It's like an invitation to stop playing a game you can't really win, and instead to start redefining what the goal of happiness is in the first place. For so long, we've kind of been sold this idea that happiness is all about chasing those huge, euphoric peaks. The lottery win, the dream job. But as we've just seen, those peaks are, by their very nature, temporary. They fade. So this brings us to the real goal. Maybe it isn't about trying to make the spikes of joy bigger and bigger. Maybe the actual goal is to use our intentional efforts, that 40% we control, to raise our entire baseline, to just build a higher, more stable day-to-day level of contentment, peace, and meaning in our lives. So let's do a quick recap. We all have a natural happiness set point that we tend to return to. We get used to both good and bad things way faster than we think we will. But the best news of all is that a massive 40% of our happiness is influenced by our intentional actions. By focusing on things like gratitude, experiences, and variety, you're not just chasing a feeling. You are actively building a higher baseline for your own happiness. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode.